Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you today for Twisted Dice, and we're going to talk some more Tyranid tactics, and I'm going to do another top 5 for you. So today we're going to discuss the best 5 Tyranid units currently in 9th edition. So hopefully this will be a video that you guys will find very useful. Before we get started, we are so close, guys, to hitting that 10,000 subscribers. As I record this video, we have 20 subscribers left to hit that 10,000, and once we hit that 10,000 we are giving away so much cool stuff. Including in that is a whole Space Marine army. So there has never been a better time to become a subscriber of Twisted Dice. So I will put a link to the video of the competition down below, so check out that video after you finish watching this, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel for a chance to win what will be an amazing prize and celebrate our 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And thank you very much, guys, for really being amazing and getting us to that point. We can't thank you enough. And while you're there, obviously make sure you hit that like and you give us a comment. What I'd be really interested to hear on this video is what your top 5 Tyranid units are. So anyway, let's jump into this video and talk Tyranids. As always, it's Wednesday, it's time to talk Tyranids, right? So what I wanted to talk about today was what I consider to be my favourite 5 Tyranid units. And I say my favourite because I honestly believe there is no such thing as a meta currently. A meta generally, when we talk about a 40k meta, is always going to be it's a global thing, right? So the only metas that exist currently are local, for the people that are lucky enough to be able to play with a local group of people, or on TTS, if you're using that or you like that, then you're using that. Maybe there's a meta that's created there. The rest of the metas are mainly in your head and in people's heads, so it doesn't really exist. So just bear that in mind, guys. So what I consider to be my favourite and the best 5 units could well change when we actually start playing this game again properly, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. But anyway, let's jump in. And it's really interesting because I did do a video for 8th edition, the end of 8th edition, and actually quite a lot of this has changed dramatically. So even though we've not had a new codex, we've not really had any new material particularly, still things have changed. So in number 5, a very interesting unit and a sleeper unit for people that have not necessarily been aware of kind of how it works in 9th edition, is the Lictor. So in number 5 I have the Lictor, and the Lictor is a really interesting choice because it's not a particularly powerful unit. It doesn't do a lot of damage, it's not very good at shooting, it doesn't really do anything from that point of view. But what it does do is, 1, it's super cheap, 2, it has deep strike built in, and 3, it scores your secondary objectives amazingly well. So this is a guy with a small footprint that can deep strike wherever you want him to, and he will give you some simple points. Like literally, he's almost impossible to stop him from scoring you valuable secondary points, and secondary points will ultimately win you the game. So this guy in itself, this unit, is a game-winning unit. And when I'm building a list at the moment, he's going in pretty much all my lists. It's just so cheap and cheerful. I'm always making points for at least 1, if not 2 Lictors. I just don't leave home without them now. They're that good currently because of the missions. So at number 5, it is the Lictor. Moving into number 4, a unit that is returning from my 8th edition top 5 list, and that is the Neurophrope. This one was, he came under a bit of competition. The Broodlord now is starting to come into favour a little bit, and because of the smaller tables, there's definitely, and the ability to maybe run, again, probably more combat orientated Tyranids. The Broodlord definitely has his place, but the Neurophrope for me, a 3-up invuln, which is unheard of in 9th edition now. 3-up invulns are slowly but surely being eroded away. But at the moment, he still has his 3-up invuln, which is incredible. On top of that, he is such a reliable caster, and there are some really key powers that almost every game, as a Tyranid player, you need to get off, and you know he's going to get that off for you. He's also such a solid warlord because he's just very hard to kill, very hard to kill, and points wise I think he's reasonable. So for me, in at number 4 comes the Neurophrope. Now moving into my number 3 selection. Now in number 3, this was an interesting one. Again, he came under quite a lot of competition from the Exocrine, who the Exocrine I think is very, very good, and just fell outside this list. But I have gone for the new boy, or the boy back on the clock again, is the Barbed Hierodule. Now, yes, some people say, well, no, I prefer to take an Exocrine. Other people say, well, I don't have Forge World units, so and I get that. But Forge World units are very, very strong now, and if you haven't yet used the Barbed Hierodule, do maybe some proxying with a Exocrine or a Tyrannofex, because I think you'll have a lot of fun with him. For me, he gives you slightly more consistency than the Exocrine. That extra strength 8 over strength 7 of his weapons means that when you are shooting against Marines, or a lot of just generally, toughness 4, he just goes through that like butter, where sometimes that strength 7 can be a bit swingy. Also, the ability not to have to invest so many CPs to make him effective, for me, gives him the edge over that Exocrine. The Exocrine, when you pump all those CPs into him, so you can move him forward and still have him shooting, double shooting, you can, and then cast a power on him to give him exploding 6s, which then become exploding 5s. Look, make him extra damage for his gun. I think you can put a lot of expense into an Exocrine and make him just as effective, but ultimately you're never going to get him up to strength 8. And I think the ability for the Barbed Hierodule just to be able to do his thing anyway, and on top of that, the Barbed Hierodule's so much better in combat, which gives him an extra threat on the table, which means he can look after himself as well, which I really, really like. So I think the Barbed Hierodule does definitely take that slot in number 3. Then in number 2, we're going to go to another Forge World unit. And this guy is somebody that people have absolutely fallen in love with since the latest Forge World book release, and that is the Dimachairon, or however you want to pronounce his name. I like to call him Dave, so there you go. And I'm sure, as in every video, you like to correct my pronunciations of the Dimachairon, or Dimachairon, whatever you like. But anyway, Dave is back on the block and back with a vengeance. For his points, he puts down some serious hurt. He is super, super quick. He will quite effectively get into combat first turn with the Swarm Lord in the list, and potentially if he's Kraken as well, that will help him. He is just super, super fast, hits like an absolute truck. Having the reliability and the survivability of a 5-up Invon is a game changer. Among so many other abilities that he's got, he is just a really, really solid choice now, and he is the kind of combat monster that we've been waiting for and that we've wanted, and I hope this is a thing to come when we get to our new codex. Hopefully some of our other monsters get this type of love, and I think we'll be in a really good spot. But definitely for me, he comes in at that number 2 slot. And then at number 1, I'm sure you guys probably know what this is already, and you maybe already finished the video, but the number 1 slot has not changed, and that goes to the Hive Guard. The Hive Guard, for their points, they are incredible. They are so, so good. The double shoot means that you get such efficiency from them. The fact that they do not need line of sight and they ignore the cover saves. It's important to note that it is cover saves, not the different abilities from cover. It's just cover saves. But wow, they are just still so, so good. Super reliable. The change to board size in 9th edition means that they will hit you almost from anywhere, and they will hit you so hard. That strength 8 is super strong. The ability to do D3 damage can be swingy, but it can be super, super good and super, super clutch when you're going against things with multiple wounds. So, for me, they still sit very much at the top. The smaller board for me means that they become much stronger in most lists, whereas before I never really took them because I used to find they used to get a little bit isolated because they don't really move. But now with the smaller board sides, they can very much cope with most builds. But obviously in a Kronos build, these guys are king, and that's generally the way you always want to play them to make sure they're effective. But don't leave home without them. They're just such a strong list, such a strong unit choice. So that's my top 5, guys. Hopefully it's been enjoyable for you. Please let me know your top 5 and let me know your thoughts on mine. And until the next video, I will see you soon. Bye for now.